I flipped on the TV looking for a documentary to watch. A History Channel documentary dealing with the pyramids and ancient sites around the world and the rediscovery of an ancient map that points to possible or probable futures on this map having to do with a cyclical disaster. Many of you guys who are familiar with my content would know why I would be very interested in that, right? So I started watching this documentary, and it's got this really long-winded introduction, just showing sites around the world and playing some basic classical music. I swear it was like 10 minutes long. So I drifted off a little bit. No, I didn't go to sleep, but my consciousness strayed, right? I was no longer on the frequency of interacting with this show. I was doing my own thing. I'm sitting here during this long-winded introduction. Sounds familiar. And I start drifting off. And for some reason, Aleister Crowley popped into my head. I was visualizing my future and how I was going to expand my content and become so successful that I could do this full time, that I could finish my research on reincarnation and Christianity and the true teachings of Yeshua and journey to all of these mystical ancient sites. I've seen myself in the Great Pyramid, the Temple of Initiation in the King's Chamber. And out of nowhere, it popped into my head. I seen Aleister Crowley's face. And then I thought, well, maybe that would be kind of creepy because some of you may or may not know this. Aleister Crowley spent a lot of time in the Great Pyramid doing some really powerful magic rituals, harnessing the energy of the Great Pyramid. And some really powerful things happened while he was doing this. I was snapped out of my daydream thinking about these things by the show starting. So I started paying attention. And then the very first opening scene, the first image it showed outside of the introduction was Aleister Crowley's face. It started talking about how Aleister Crowley had summoned these entities, extra-dimensional entities, using an ancient ritual that he found in an obscure text. He was very skilled in magical formula and evocation. He found this manuscript, translated it, and successfully, according to his own writings and people who were there, and opening a portal to another dimensional awareness where an entity spoke to him by the name of Lamb. And he drew a picture, an image of this entity, and it looked very similar in a lot of ways to a gray, to an extraterrestrial. He talked to this entity for a very long time and refused to tell anybody about their conversations, at least outside of his inner circle. He didn't even write it down in his journal. It was so important, he would not even write it down. About 20 years later, two of his students, Hubbard and Wernher von Braun, decided to recreate his experiment in California. They were successful too, but they could not figure out how to close the portals. It has been theorized that they opened this portal to another dimension in the early 40s and then was unable to close it. Shortly after that, L. Ron Hubbard went on to start Scientology, and Wernher von Braun created NASA almost immediately after these conversations with these extra-dimensional beings that were potentially the Greys